Segment is sponsored by Kelvin D. Johnson and State Farm Insurance.
Celebrating history, heritage, and culture in our community is so very important, especially during Black History Month. Calvin and Gaye Johnson are joining us this morning with a little bit of history and culture. Thank you so very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Especially during the month of February, Black History Month. You know, where are you seeing our community kind of coming together to honor this month and honor the culture?
I just think it was nice on yesterday at Charles Black Center how I think it was 9 people that were honored for Black history makers here locally. And so it's good to remember the local folks as well as those people who've made history nationally. And so as a community, I think we're getting better and better about celebrating Black History Month. And Black history happens every day, so we're intertwined as a great part of the community.
Yeah, you said we're getting better and better, but we can always do better. So how
Absolutely.
can even families do better? Recognizing culture in our community, diversity, how can we do better on the local level?
I think Gaye can address that because she's an educator in just the aspect of teaching at home.
Yeah, and I think that it's just so important that we stress what we value. If we value Black history, if you value your own particular culture's history, then you put that in the home. You teach it in the home. You teach it wherever you go. It becomes a natural walking part of you.
And that education piece and with families, what are those ways that we can continue to honor the history and also move forward, you know, keep doing better, honor history? What are those pieces that we can do on the local level to keep doing better and to keep putting history at the forefront of our community when we're thinking about Black History Month and being every single day?
Well, and I think you said it really correct when you said every day. I love that we have Black History Month. I think it's even more important that we embody Black history in everything that we do, that it's not only 28 or 29 days, but that it extends every day. You know, it extends into our everyday lives, and it happens every day. So we talk about it. So I'm always thinking about new and different, innovative ways to do that.
And what maybe are some of those innovative ways or maybe even tangible steps that people can take to keep moving forward and keep this at the forefront of our minds every single day?
Would you like to do
that?
Well, I think number one, parents talking about it. For us growing up, church is where we talked about and we learned about Black history and civil rights and things of that nature. And then to point kids to what adults are doing, like a Karen White, a Gladys Muhammad, a Lynn Coleman, people who are having major, Alma Powell, who are having major effect in our community, who are change makers, and to remind kids that they too can be a change maker and make a difference in the community.
I love that word change maker, especially with that next generation. So what are some ways that the next generation can be change makers?
Well, you know, one thing I think is understanding who you are and why you are who you are. Now, interestingly enough, it goes all the way back to the African population, and we all know about slavery, we all know about the ships and, you know, that whole thing that happened. But there was a culture that came with them, and that culture that came with them became a part of who they were, and they fought to keep that culture, that heritage. And I think we all do that. Again, it's value. The things that we think are valuable, we treat it with value. But there's so much now, and history happens every day. And there's a his story, and there's a her story. And there's a we story as well. So as a culture, I think we have to be about the business of being intentional about what we do, what we say, and how we integrate that into our everyday lives.
And not just emphasize the bad things that happen, but the great things that are happening, the inventions, those things, the engineering that's going on by people of color. It makes a big difference.
No, thank you both so much for joining us here this morning to talk about the history, the culture, and ways to continue to honor and move forward. Thank you both for being with us. You can connect with Calvin at Calvin Johnson and State Farm Insurance. So thank you both very much for being with us this morning here on Hometown Living.